Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 777, joined by a special guest, World Series champion from the St. Louis Cardinals in 2011, Adron Chambers. I just want to say thank you for joining the show today. It's truly an honor, and we're going to talk about your career and other great things that you're doing right now after your baseball career. But first of all, how are you and your family so far during this tough situation? And where you guys are located in Canada, right?
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate you having me on the show, though, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
This is I went back and I had to go back on your Instagram and check it out and see, what I'm saying, what it was all about. You've been having some nice people on this show, man. So it's an honor for me to be on here. So let me get that out first. But yeah, we out here in Ottawa, Canada, the capital. Yeah, my little girl, I just had a baby girl birthday is coming up, matter of fact. We on lockdown over here, so we got a curfew. We can't really do what we want to do. I don't even try to get on Facebook as much because I see everybody back at home doing their thing and I get jealous. But yeah, for the most part, we hanging in there. You know what I'm saying? Having to be in the house all day ain't the best thing for nobody, but right now you just got to make the best of the situation and hopefully, things turn around real soon.
Yeah. So before we get to your career, obviously I'm going to ask you about the Cardinals roster later on, but I'm sure you heard the news yesterday that the Angels released Albert Pujols, your former teammate, yesterday. And how tough was it when you saw that news? And obviously he's a great player, legendary player, and you got to play with him in St. Louis. And what was your reaction to that yesterday, if you saw?
Yeah, it wasn't tough at all. You know what I'm saying? If retired, the year that we won the World Series together, he could have retired right then and his name would have been in history books. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he even been able to play, 10 plus years after all of that is phenomenal and shows what type of person he is. I think his career kind of speaks for itself, Hopefully, I always thought that, he would be like a Derek Jeter and retire as a Cardinal. Coming up as a Cardinal, you kind of thought that. But hopefully the Cardinal do something special for him so he can kind of get recognized as a Cardinal. He didn't get the respect that he deserved in Anaheim, I think, like he did in St. Louis. But that's just my opinion. And, hopefully, the Cardinals recognize that and they see and bring him back and, maybe let him retire as a Cardinal. But his career alone, it speaks for itself.
Yeah. So I want to get to your career. So when you were younger, when did you start playing baseball? And other than baseball, did you get to play any other sports? And who was that one role model that you looked up to in the sports industry?
In the sports world, I guess you can say it was my big brother, to be honest with you. He wasn't a professional ball player like myself, but he kind of showed me the ropes. And my first love was baseball, but the passion that I had when it comes to sports and competitive sports was football. I went to college with the Mississippi State, played football. I started playing around about 6 years old, 7 years old. My mother never wanted me to, play football, but I had older brothers that kind of helped me out and vouched for me to let me go play. My uncle was the president at the park at that one time. So I had a lot of cousins, a lot of family at the park. And to be honest with you, going to the baseball field was like a gift for all of us. It gave us a chance to kind of get away and see each other. My family is very big and we're very close. So it didn't even feel like we were playing baseball. So, we just had a family reunion with a whole bunch of people out there just having a good time. So, but I started very young, football, baseball, obviously in the neighborhood, we played basketball, we boxed. Roy Jones was a big influence in our lives. He's from my hometown, Pensacola, Florida. Emmitt Smith, Derrick Brooks, Justin Gatlin. I got so many names that I can throw out there. And that's just, the black athletes, when we just speak about, Fred Robbins, just the culture of Pensacola, man. Don Sutton, you know what I'm saying? We can go on and on and on with the names in Pensacola. They call Pensacola the city of champions. So, but yeah, man, sports was real early for me, and football and baseball was really the two that, I chose and I carried on throughout my whole life.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's some great names. Obviously, speaking of Emmitt Smith, I'm a big Dallas Cowboy fan here in Jersey, so Emmitt Smith is the GOAT.
It's really, really the GOAT. I mean, everybody wanted to wear 22 back in the day. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So having him accessible like that, having guys like Derrick Brooks, they always came back to the hometown and represented, gave us some love, showed us, told us. So I always have respect for those guys.
Yeah, so for you, I'm just curious. Obviously, you played all the sports. So before deciding on baseball throughout your career, what advantages did you have for yourself when you were playing multiple sports? What advantage do you get out from that by playing multiple sports before settling in one?
I mean, being able to play football, obviously, when you hear football, it's about toughness, right? So we learn how to, get knocked down and get back up real fast. Team, being able to work together and everybody has a responsibility. And the coaches that I had, Mike Hall, Coach Kirk, Coach Anthony, Coach Cable, I had so many great influences, and they were showing us this at a very young age, what it meant to be team. They showed us how to be competitive. So before my professional career, man, we were winning championships, when I was in Little League, like it wasn't nothing. You know what I mean? I got trophies all over my house back in Pensacola.
Oh.
MVPs, Player of the Years, teamwork. I mean, we were being shown this stuff at a very, very young age. We were very competitive. And Pensacola, being Pensacola, sports was always like a big thing. So we took sports very seriously, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, the advantages that I got from my early sports career, in Little League and things like that was just the idea of, being competitive. I learned that. I think when it comes to sports, knowing that you, like Muhammad Ali, you the greatest. You got to believe that you the greatest every day. We were taught that at a very, very young age. So I believe that I can compete and play with anybody, whether it's Albert Pujols or Shane Robinson. Shane Robinson was the little bitty dude in the outfield for us. But and he had a big heart, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that competitive type of attitude, I think that's what carried me throughout my career.
So did you ever think that you could have played in the NFL too before deciding baseball also?
100%. I mean, when I was at Mississippi State, Sylvester Croom, who was the first Black head coach in the SEC, he was over there at Mississippi State, and he would tell me all the time, you know what I mean? I really believe, I tore my ACL in high school. I had a lot of events that kind of, didn't cause me to quit, but it altered my train of thinking, my attitude towards the game. And, I made some mistakes, but I really believe that, I could have played in the NFL and had a great career playing in the NFL too. Not only just from my mind, but, I had great guys like I said, Sylvester Croom, Woody McCorvey. They reminded me all the time that I had the ability to play. I just had to stick with it. And just like anybody else playing college ball, you got to work. You know what I mean? You got to put in the work. You don't put in no work, you ain't gonna get nothing out of it.
So now, obviously, you went to Mississippi State. Obviously, it's a big time school in college football and other sports starting to grow there too. And what did you learn as a player at Mississippi State and from your coaching staff and your teammates and playing in front of those fans?
Well, that was one, right? That was really the first time I started really playing in front of 100,000, 60,000 people. That was one. But Sylvester Croom used to tell us all the time, attention to detail. All the time. He used to say that every single day, and don't feel sorry for yourself. So those were two things. And I had guys like Jarius Norwood, Quentin Culberson, Jamar Chaney. I had so many great athletes that went on to play in the NFL that they took heed to that information too. So I was able to see that from Jarius and all these guys and how they went about their business, man. It was amazing being able to be around guys like that. And for Coach Croom to remind us of that, it showed me that he wanted us to be more than just an athlete on the field. He wanted us to be a man off the field, a student athlete, and just a responsible person. You know what I'm saying? So I know those two things right there were two that I took from Sylvester Croom. And, every time I see him now, I still remind him, that them things are embedded in my head for the rest of my life. Attention to detail and don't feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah. So now taking back to your draft experience, what was it like waiting for your name to be called? And obviously you got picked by the Cardinals. So what was that like being picked by a historic organization in baseball?
I was new to the whole process, right? So I went down to Memphis, Tennessee, had a tryout. They told me they were going to draft me. They didn't really tell me what round.
Hmm.
Ended up being the 38th round. But I really, after Mississippi State and the situation I was dealing with, I was just trying to clear my name. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be the person that I knew that I was. And so when the opportunity of baseball kind of presented itself, I was just at a point where I just wanted to, redirect my life. And so having um, that opportunity when I got drafted, I wasn't really into the whole facade of the draft and all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to go play. That was the only thing on my mind is going out there, putting in the work and playing. And to me, I think that's what they seen. Even on that day in Memphis, Jeff Luna used to remind me all the time of how I was, the way I went about my business really stuck out to him to really for them to even want me to be on the team. So yeah, man, it was interesting for me because I took an approach that wasn't ordinary like you see in nowadays. Guys are really putting in the work, they studying, they due diligence when it comes to being a draft pick, setting themselves up. I just wanted to clear my name, my mom, how I represented my family.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? At that time in my life, I just wanted to clear my name and get back on the right path. And to be honest with you, the fact that the Cardinals drafted me just let me know that I was headed in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, you had the underdog story, and you kept working hard throughout your career, and so after you got drafted, what was the first thing you did with your family when you got drafted with the
Well,
Cardinals?
the biggest thing I did, they gave me $50,000, right?
Yeah.
Uncle Sam took just about half of that. But that was really the most money I've ever had. You know what I mean? So really the first thing I did was really go up to my mom and kind of let her know that, from this point on, I'm gonna really try to I wasn't raised with my father in the house, right?
Mhm.
So I really wanted just to let her know that anything that she needed, I was gonna take care of. So we really just celebrated as a family. It was a perfect opportunity for us to cherish because for what 4 or 5 months, I feel like I was in the dirt. So that was really a grateful moment for me, a pleasurable moment for my family, and we all celebrated to the fullest, man. We had a great time that day, and everybody was happy for me. And it was still, for me, it was still about, now the real work comes in. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a long celebration, but it was kind of a reminder, what I mean, of yeah, okay, you heading in the right direction, keep moving.
Yeah. So what was your process in when you were working hard in the minors, waiting for your name to get called for to go up to the majors, and obviously you put in the work in the minors, and how was that feeling when you got called up to the majors? Take me back to that day when you got called up to the majors.
Well, I kind of took this approach throughout my whole minor league career that, it didn't matter what level that I was on. The goal was to be in St. Louis. So I always thought I was in St. Louis, whether it was Johnson City, Quad Cities, Palm Beach, Springfield, Memphis, you know, uh, I always thought I was in St. Louis. And I really took that approach throughout everything that I did, along the way, I still was a young, what I'm saying, athlete, young man, still trying to learn how to be a man. So I had my ups and my downs, but I mean, even now, if I was to call back and talk to my teammates, my ex-teammates, the other day, I kind of went back and I looked up some guys,
Hmm.
reached out to them. They would say, my approach, the way I dressed, the way I presented myself, I wanted to be a professional. And to be honest with you, St. Louis kind of demonstrated that. They wanted us to wear collared shirts. They wanted us to be presentable in spring training. So I kind of took that, outside of the game, and I just wanted to be the best person that I can be. I seek this opportunity to kind of, make the most of it, change and make things better for myself. So my minor league career was honestly, that was my most pleasurable moments because it's almost like when you get to the big leagues, man. Once you get there, you realize it's still baseball. It's just the field. It's more seats in the stands, and the paychecks are a whole lot bigger. You know what I mean? But it's still baseball. You know what I mean? So being able to be in the minor leagues, go to these different small towns, and create relationships with people. I still have relationships with people in these small cities to this day. So my minor league career was probably the best in my career, and obviously I spent more time in the minors than the majors, but um, it was very pleasurable because it really taught me. That process taught me how to be a major league ball player. You know what I'm saying? So just like in 2011 when we won, I already believed that I was a winner already. It didn't take a world champion to prove that. I felt like I had already proven that to myself.
Yeah. So speaking of those players, who did you reach out to?
Man, Nick Addison was one. I think he's in Japan right now.
Uh-huh.
I talked to Brian Anderson.
Okay.
DeMarcus Ingram is a
Oh,
good one.
okay.
Me and him went to college together. Uh, Paul Vasquez.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that name. But it was like I went to each one of my minor league teams and I just started looking up some guys and seeing if I was following them on Instagram or Facebook. Some of them are fathers and they retired a long time ago and 5 and 6 kids, been married for 10 years. It's crazy just hearing those stories, man, and remembering, the trouble that we got into in the minor leagues, you know what I mean? And the hard work too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. And but it's nice to see just the growth, you know what I mean? Like I have a daughter now, 11 months. 10 years ago, you couldn't have told me this was gonna happen. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just a few names, man. It was so many guys that I reached out to though.
All right, so tell me. All right, so when you got called up and you're walking into the clubhouse and you see players like Gotti, Molina, Pujols, Daniel Descasso, David Freese, Jake Westbrook, Adam Wainwright, what's going through your mind?
I like that you said Jake too, man. A lot of people forget about old Jake.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, man, I was the first one. I kind of that first day that I got there, I wanted to, set the tone, I guess you could say, for my career. And so when I got to the locker room or to the stadium, Albert Pujols was already there. It's 11 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? We ain't playing till 7. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm just me at the hotel. So I'm dressed at 7. You know what I mean? I done took a shower, got clean, ate my breakfast. I'm so hyped to be here. I'm not finna mess up nothing. So when I show up, Albert Pujols, the guy's outside washing the car. I forget his name. He's outside washing all of his cars. It was crazy. Come back in, hands Albert his keys, and this is when I see Albert at his locker room. I'm over here looking. I ain't say nothing to him. He said, "What's up?" to me, and then I spoke back. But I was just trying to, be that rookie. You know what I mean? Don't say nothing. Like a fly on the wall, right?
Yeah.
But it was crazy because he showed up, and then I think Chris Carpenter kind of came in. He had just finished running some stadiums or something like that, and Mark McGwire came up to me, congratulated me. And he said, the first thing he said to me after congratulating me was, create a plan. And I used to hear that so much from, I was just telling my daughter's mom, I said, Mike Schilt, who was the manager for the Cardinals right now, he used to have a pad all the time. He used to always tell me to create a plan. Every day he used to say, create a plan, create a plan, create a plan. And Mark McGwire said that. And it still wasn't catching on to me what they were talking about. Tony LaRussa ended up coming up. Me and him spoke in spring training. So he kind of had an idea of the type of person I was, type of player I was. And he told me the same thing. All right, now it's time to really put in work. We were like 12 games, 10 games out of the playoffs. But he still was like, hey, look, don't miss an opportunity. And then everybody started showing up, Yachty, and everybody started trickling in. And they showed me a lot of love. One of my favorite teammates of all time is not only Yachty, but Edwin Jackson.
Yeah.
He really showed me some love when I showed up to that stadium. He had a nice gift for me in my locker room. He welcomed me with open arms, man. And having guys like Arthur Rhodes, Corey Patterson.
Yep.
I mean, some other familiar faces, young black men. You know what I mean? It was humbling. You know what I mean? To be able to see that. Okendo. It were just so many guys that had a lot of respect for the game. And I felt, to be honest with you, I felt like I was home. I felt like I belonged. You know what I mean? They helped me feel comfortable to be able to do what I had to do. And I think that's what really set the tone for me. I was able to be my full self, and my teammates allowed that.
I missed half the roster too. I forgot Lance Lynn,
Man,
Tony Cruz, Jared Laird, the catcher. One of the obviously, I think you guys had the deepest roster I've ever seen back in the day. And Jared Laird and Ryder Molina is a good 1-2 punch to have for a World Series team. So for you, so before we get to the World Series one, I want to ask you: was this the best rotation you ever seen? With Jake Westbrook, Edwin Jackson, Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, and then you have Lance Lynn there too.
I mean, obviously, like I said, Cardinals are really the only team that I've been in the major leagues. But I've been in a couple of spring trainings where it was Houston, the Cubs, to where I can see some great, John Lester is a phenomenal pitcher. But when it was more than just like the pitching though. They were men. You know what I mean? They had kids, they had families, they had years of experience. I think that's what it was. It was I guess you can say it was the best rotation because it was just the experience. Having Chris Carpenter, dog, is like, this is a guy that you don't want to play against, but you want to have him on your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's going to fight for you. He's going to be there for you. He's going to do everything. Arthur Rose. When me and Arthur Rose, when I got there, he had already played 20 years almost. You know what I'm saying?
There's a picture of you too in the World Series after he was holding you on top of it.
Right. I jumped on his back because we created a bond. I still remember. I got a quick story about him. We in the locker room and he over there talking. I'm a rookie just sitting in my locker, and he over there talking about something like a curveball or something he was talking about. And I just stood up, with my big mouth, and I was like, Arthur Rose, I hit that shit over the mountain. And he looked at me. You would have thought he was going to punch me in my face.
Yeah.
He said, meet me after the game today. You know what I mean? Meet me after the game.
Wow.
He was like, from here on out, you're going to be with me. Everywhere I go, you're going to be with me. So we created a real brotherhood. You know what I mean? So having guys like that, man, that's what I thought was special about that rotation, man. Jason Mott, you know what I mean? It was
Kyle Loesch, right?
Kyle Loesch,
yeah.
McCullen, man. It's so many great guys, man. That was just like, they were just good people. You know what I mean? That team that we had, it was a reason why we won the World Series, and it wasn't just because of our talent. It was because that we were just some men that didn't mind working hard, and we were paying attention to detail. Everybody had a job, and we knew that. We didn't try to do more. I didn't try to hit like Albert Pujols. Tony Cruz didn't try to catch like, Yadier Molina. He just did what he could do, and all of it blended together, and it worked.
So now, taking back to the World Series run, and what was the message from Tony LaRussa to you guys? And obviously, it's hard winning a championship. And what did you guys do as a group to maintain the focus that year and be able to win a lot of games? And also, it is take me back to the message what Tony LaRussa said. And obviously, you had Kobe Rasmus in your outfield for call was there, John Jay. But what was it like the strong message that Tony LaRussa sent you guys for that year?
The reason how John Jay got up because Kobe left, right? So the biggest thing that I think, for me, and I can only speak for myself, right, and my responsibility, because I wasn't a home run hitter. I was that like Energizer Bunny, you know what I mean? So that first hit that I got against the Phillies, I think it really helped charge us. You know what I'm saying? It kind of sparked us a little bit. It woke us up. You know what I mean? You got this young guy coming in thinking that he's, King Gifford Jr. I thought I was the stuff, you know what I mean? So, it kind of sparked everybody, and everybody started, you can see it in batting practice, man, where Lance Berkman would, he'd go to the batting cage and swing one time and then hit a line drive, and he'd be like, yep, I'm good. You know what I mean? It was like a confidence that, everybody started establishing on their own. So, and the message from Tony LaRussa was simply that, he was like, from my understanding, Tony LaRussa was just like a guy that he didn't really care for the young guys, not because he didn't like the young guys, but because he thought the veteran players kind of knew their responsibility. So for him to add me to the roster was like phenomenal because of that point. But you know, his message was just do your job. You know what I mean? Do your job. And everybody did their job. Nobody was late. I think I was late one time in Milwaukee, man. Everybody was mad at me, man. I was young and missed the bus. I was on dress, but I missed the bus. But like everybody was like, you know, they had a purpose and they knew their purpose. You know what I mean? They chilled after the games. We talked about the games. And once we started winning, you know, we had this philosophy of happy flight. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, when we flying back home, we want to be happy. Whenever we flying, we want to be happy, you know, happy flight. We start really buying into these ideas that we were creating. You know what I'm saying? Like Shredder, you know what I'm saying? Nick Punto, like it was little bitty things that was, you know, handshakes. You know, I would go through the locker room yelling, hang him on the wall because, you know, when somebody shoots a deer or something, they'll mount his head on the wall. So I would go through the dugout saying, hang him on the wall. We're going to put Milwaukee on the wall, you know? So it was little things like that we were creating that, you know, our handshake, after somebody hit a home run, we would line up and everybody put their hand out and they go down and slapping each other's hands. It was just little things like that, I think, that brought us in as a team. And we was able to use that, and it was like we were connected. We was, you know, it brought us together. And in any team, if everybody's on the same page, you know, good things can happen.
Yeah. So now, so take me to the playoff run, and obviously, we played a lot of great teams in there. And what was your what was your mindset going into each series, and then eventually reaching the World Series and winning the World Series? So take me back to like the mindset for you guys.
So once we got in, think about it, we were already like 10 games out.
Yeah.
So nobody even imagined us getting there. So we, in our mind, we was like, it wasn't nothing to lose. You know, to have that idea that we were the best, that we weren't going to lose was like, it wasn't like not real. You know what I'm saying? It was like very much so like our story, you know what I mean? Of never giving up, comeback kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, we finna make this thing happen. I don't care who across. It could be Muhammad Ali. We gonna knock him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't care. You know what I mean? And to me, that's what kind of, you know, drove us through. And then you got guys like David Freese that got really, really hot. Alan Craig that got really, really hot. You know, guys like Chris Carpenter to set the tone for us. You know what I mean? And beating the Phillies. It was like the Phillies were the team to beat. You know what I mean? Like we weren't expected to beat them. Game 5, where it comes down to a 1-run game with, you know what I'm saying, God rest his soul. Holiday was over there, and Chris Carpenter, you know what I'm saying? Like the only run was scored in the first inning. You know what I mean? It was like it was so much fuel that we used that it kind of helped carry us along the way. You know what I'm saying? After we beat the Phillies, it was kind of like not a comfort, but we kind of knew that, you know, our team was gelled. You know what I mean? Like we knew that, all right, we got something. So now when we go to Milwaukee, it's like, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, hey, we know we can dodge, we can jab, we got everything is fluid now. And so whenever we needed this, if Tony had to pinch hit me or put me in a defense, me and Lance Berkman, you know, Lance knew that I was coming in the 7th inning for defense. Even though he's a phenomenal player, we knew Tony was going to put me in the game. You know what I mean? So Tony kind of had a big part of that, obviously, because he knew the pieces that he needed to put in to make everybody happy. You know, think about it. Lance Berkman is a Hall of Fame ball player. And you taking him out the game in the 7th to put in a rookie, he could be mad as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could be like, Coach, what are you doing? But he wasn't. He was embracing. You know what I mean? He allowed me to be myself. So when I got on the field, I wasn't thinking about, oh man, you know, I can't mess up because Lance might be mad at me. I got to prove. It wasn't nothing like that. It was get on the field, do your job, and then we're going to make it happen. So because of that jail and having a manager like Tony and our assistant, Dave McKay, you know, they were just, you know, so helpful with the process, man. It was really moments that we'll never forget. Obviously the World Series, but how we did it, you know, it was amazing. And then being able to make it all the way through like that, it was like, You know, the Rangers, they still had us out. You know what I mean? They thought the Rangers was gonna beat us, and you know, you would have thought so in Game 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we down to our last strike twice. You know what I'm saying? It was like, but to be honest with you, that locker room, we had that until the game is over. You know, we can win, and I think that belief or feeling or resentment, you know what I'm saying, that resentful kind of like attitude, like we weren't gonna be denied, you know, our truth. You know what I mean? So I'm about to throw this fastball. I'm gonna let you know it's coming. What's up? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the kind of attitude we took, and it worked for us.
Yeah, so now take me to the clinching game against Texas when you guys won the World Series. And for you guys to be able to win at home is amazing too. And
Yeah.
and being able to be in that atmosphere, your comfort zone, and the fans being behind you. And obviously Texas was on the ropes. So take me to that clinching game. What was going through you guys' minds? And obviously you guys were comfortable at home, but being able to win it at home, how is that feeling like?
Well, you know, when we went to Texas, they kind of beat up on us a little bit,
Yeah.
right? So even though Iowa hit 3 home runs and we had a big game or whatever, you know, but Tony LaRussa said something to us in the locker room heading back home. He told us if we win Game 6, we will win Game 7,
Mhm.
and that was something that kind of stuck in our mind. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, Tony Russo was so influential. Like he influenced us so well. You know what I mean? Like he was really like a doctor, a master at being able to get a guy to believe in himself or to get the job done. You know what I mean? He didn't put me in a game where I didn't have a chance to have some type of success. You know what I mean? And I think his leadership really helped us maneuver in a way that guys were able to be themselves, like Edwin Jackson, you know what I mean? Like Nick Punto, you know what I mean? These guys, Ryan Terrio, you know what I mean? Like these guys were able to be themselves and they helped the young guys, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that Game 6 was so phenomenal for us that, like he said, if we win Game 6, we were gonna win Game 7. And when we got to Game 7, it was like, even if they scored, we knew we could score. You know what I mean? You got guys like Alan Craig, where his confidence was so high that it was like he could not mess up all. It kind of felt like that. You know what I mean? It felt like David Freese could not mess up. Even when he got an out, it was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And being able to have a team being in that moment, being in the present moment, for any team that ever won a World Series or ever basketball team or whatever, they understand what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, all the dots are connecting, and that's what we had. Everything was connecting for us, and when we just listened, we just listened.
All right, so after you guys won the World Series, what did you guys do?
We partied like a rock star. You hear me? I'm talking about we popped so much champagne. I ain't never seen Budweiser in big old champagne bottles like that. Like obviously Budweiser is insane. Look, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, it's us. You know what I mean? So they gave us the royal treatment, dog. It was like, oh my goodness, man. Now I see everybody with their cigars, with the goggles on, and all that kind of stuff, man. But I gotta say, that day was probably the funnest day of my life when it comes to just enjoying a moment like that. Other than my daughter being born, it's like, you know, it was something that I never forget, man. Seeing so many older guys, not old, I was young, right? But seeing so many older guys just be so happy. You know what I mean? They were just happy. Their families were happy. Their kids were happy. Their wives were happy. And they probably knew they was getting a nice check. But for the most part, it was because we just became the best team on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Like we were the best baseball team in the world, you know? So it was it was very what's the word I'm looking for? You know, honorable, you know what I mean? It was like, wow, like this is what baseball is all about. You know what I mean? Like we did all of that work, all them ups, all them downs, all them days of hitting batting practice and diving for balls and getting hurt. And, you know, Albert was hurt earlier that year. You know what I mean? So going through all of that, it was like all of it was worth it. You didn't feel no pain after that, you know. The only pain you felt was the burning from the beer in your eyes, you know what I'm saying? So that's a good pain.
And the cigars too, obviously, right?
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So that was a pleasurable moment, dog.
Yeah, but your team actually did. You know what? I have two comparisons for your 2011 team: the Miami Heat when they had the big three, and the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I kind of feel like Game 6 is one of the greatest games in baseball. But our run for the World Series is, to me, is going to be talked not only because of David Freese. David Freese was
Oh my
like
God, he had a historic postseason.
historical, monumental type. You know, he's going to be reckoned. I mean, I think that helped his whole career. Like even when he went to the Dodgers, when he went to the Pirates, like Angels, like his game, he became the guy that, you know, when the game was on the line, that's who you wanted at the plate. He really became that guy. Me seeing him grow and blossom the way he did, man, he really became that guy that was like, you know, I still remember in when he was in LA earlier, before he retired, he was getting these big hits, man. It was like little doubles or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And people were looking at it like, oh, David Freese again. But in my eyes, I was like, you know, that was him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it was just thinking about that, man, give me goosebumps right now, dog. It's really amazing to be able to be a part of a team that has been able to be recognized in history when it comes to baseball. You know what I mean? That's, you know, you got people like Jackie Robinson that's in
Yeah,
history, Satchel Paige that's in history, and
and Gary too.
Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and
Yeah,
Don Sutton that's in history, man. Like I feel like I'm a part of history, man. It makes me, you know, feel like, what we went through was worth it.
yeah. And speaking of really Mays, yesterday was his 90th birthday. So
Right.
happy
That,
belated birthday to the legend.
that's right.
So for you, looking back at your career, how grateful are you to be able to play the game that you love, win the World Series title, playing for one team at the Cardinals, historic franchise? Like I said earlier, I'm a Yankee fan, and I feel like the two top franchises in baseball right now is the Yankees and the Cardinals when it comes to organization and front office. So how grateful are you to be able to play with great players on that team and wearing the Cardinals uniform?
Well, the gratefulness really comes from everybody that supports the St. Louis Cardinals. That's the fans, that's the staff. Let me tell you something. You go into St. Louis, it is no better city when it comes to loving their baseball team. St. Louis is amongst nobody. Like they're in a league of their own when it comes to the respect that they have for the game of baseball and their team. You know what I mean? So being able to wear the birds on the bat, as we call it, is like it's an honor, man. Because you know I got guys like Lou Brock, Ozzie Smith, Bob Gibson. You know, God rest their soul. Ozzy's still alive, but it's like, you know, the things that they told me, you know, Vince Coleman, the things that I've heard out of their mouths, you know what I'm saying? Red Shinding, you know, Stan Musial.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to be in the same room as all of these great athletes being recognized all over the world. You know, and they would just whisper tiny things in my ear that were things that I'd be able to take for the rest of my life. I mean, I still remember Ozzie Smith telling me, "Don't let them take your groceries." You know what I'm saying? It's like so funny, but at the same time, I know exactly what he means when he say
Yeah.
that. So being able to be a part of an organization like that for so many years, I was with them for 7 years. I grew up in their minor league system. They believe in their minor league system. They love their minor league system. They had some great players in their minor league system. It was fun to go to spring training. It was very fun. Jupiter, Florida is a beautiful place. And everybody in St. Louis always came to watch them. It was very nice being able to be a part of an organization that appreciated their baseball players the way they did. So I'm forever indebted to the St. Louis Cardinals and the respect. You know, I go back down to the fantasy games to play with the fans, and you know, my last year was the year before was last year was the first time I've ever been a part of that. So and they're the same, you know what I mean? They still love the game, they still recognize me. So um I forever be a Cardinal for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So now I want to talk about what you're doing now after your career and What have you been doing? And obviously, is your goal to help coach young kids now in baseball?
Oh, most definitely, man. I'm really looking forward to going back home to Pensacola and coaching my old high school team. They actually reached out to me the other day.
Oh,
Being
wow.
in Canada, I can't do it right now. But I'm here. I'm out here in Canada actually, and obviously, Canada has a great name for baseball too. Eric Gagne and so many more are from Canada. I actually won a championship with the Ottawa Champions out here back in 2016. But they're still developing. You know, it's a lot of snow around here, so the sport that they love is hockey. You know, hockey is everything over here. So I met with an organization, St. Anthony's organization. They asked me to come coach or just come train the athletes. They liked the way I was training. I used to bring guys to come on the show, Edwin Jackson and
Oh,
Jake Wood. I would get them to talk to the guys. So they were like, look, how about you coaching the 13-year-old team, their older baseball team, and just help our program. So right now I'm helping their program grow, and I'm looking into helping the baseball program grow in Canada, in Ottawa, period. You know what I mean? I remember the Expos in Montreal, you know what I mean? So um, I'm really into the idea of baseball and bringing baseball or waking baseball up, because baseball is here. You know, it's great in Canada, but you know, it needs to be picked up a little bit. So I see where I can kind of, make my stance in the game over here. So right now, I have Swing Champ, which is the logo on my hat. The organization I started back home that I work with the youth, and kind of get back to the elementary, middle school, high school kids. I train athletes. Chad Bryant, who is for the Atlanta Braves right now, he pitches tonight. Matter of fact,
oh,
he pitches for the Atlanta Braves. He's with their A-ball system. I think that's Gwinnett. Is that Augusta? Augusta, yeah. So I'm gonna be watching him tonight. So I train some of the pros. We have a guy back in Pensacola that works with the youth, the upcoming future, professional athletes. So I'm very much involved with the development process of the athletes, and I'm just trying to bring all of that here to Canada. You know, us being on the lockdown is kind of hard right now, but I'm very much so into the idea of, these kids want to play sports, and despite this pandemic and all this kind of stuff. So I want to help them keep their dreams going and do everything I can. And matter of fact, we had practice yesterday, and it went very well. So that's really what I got going on right now. I'm trying to get that to grow out here, and maybe one day see my daughter, throw a baseball and hit a softball. So that's really what I'm on. I'm really just trying to help kids develop their dreams, and it makes me happy doing that. You know what I mean? And being able to see these kids smile, because I had coaches do the same thing for me. So that's what I'm about right now. Is just helping the youth really continue, living out their dream.
yeah. So like, for example, I had Jamil Weeks on a couple of days ago, and I had Scott Harrison on a couple of days ago. They're helping out the youth, and I love what you guys are doing with former baseball players, how continuing to be involved into the game, helping these kids, and it's amazing what I'm seeing from you guys. And but we do a fun little segment here, so I have a couple some quick hits questions for you if you don't mind.
All right, Ben, let's do it.
All right, so where do you keep your World Series ring?
It's probably under my mother's pillow right now. She don't let me hold it, man. She don't even let me wear my own ring, man. I told her once I got it, I wore it the first day and I gave it to her, and she ain't gave it back yet.
Yeah, so you know that Tony LaRussa now manages with the White Sox.
Yeah.
Do you see Pujols going there as a potential team?
I heard that yesterday. I don't think so. It wasn't really, when I heard it, it didn't really, pop up in my head like that. It could happen because him and Tony LaRussa was like this. I think him going back to St. Louis would be more ideal. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Just because I'm pretty sure he had the time where he wants to retire. You know what I mean? But it also would be a great story if he went to the White Sox and played with his favorite manager. I'm thinking it's his favorite manager.
Hmm. Favorite memorable outside of the World Series, favorite memorable game.
My favorite memorable game was the championship game in Little League. I played for Motor Grove. We were playing against Century. I want to say it was our midget year, junior year, midget year. and our coach, Mike Hall, he told us if we won a championship, and we were playing a team that was like supposed to be way better than us. We were a very little bitty team, made it all the way to the championship. He said if we won, it rained that day, and they had a big mud puddle. He said he would slide in that puddle. And we all like committed ourselves, like we gonna win this game because we want to see Coach slide in that puddle. And I still think about that day right there. Still is running through my mind. It's the best day of my life seeing Coach slide in that doggone mud puddle, man, for real.
Funniest teammate.
Funniest teammate, Aaron Luna. I don't even know if he's gonna watch this. I'm gonna have to send this to him when I watch it. Aaron Luna was funny as a mug, from Texas, football player. He was a good ball player too, but he was so funny. Golly, he was retarded, man. But Aaron Luna was probably the funniest teammate I
had. Toughest pitcher that you faced?
Big leagues or
big league?
Zach Greinke.
Ooh.
Yeah. He threw me a backdoor. He threw so many backdoor curveball, slider, whatever it is.
Oh my God.
He would never just throw it across the plate, man. He was backdoor, and they would call it. I'm talking about it's 17 inches off the plate, and they'll call it a strike. I don't know, but he was a good pitcher too, man. He was good. And you don't hear that name too much, I guess. Like you hear the Verlanders and all that, and the CCs, which CC is the man.
Yeah, CC's he's the GOAT.
That's the GOAT.
Yeah.
But Zach was pretty good. He was a little kooky, but he was very good. Very good ball player.
Seeds or gum?
Seeds all day. I mean, gum, man, that gum used to mess up my teeth. So it's sunflower seeds, the dill pickle kind too.
So the last two things here before I let you go, and our team is part of this foundation called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach, and actually he's an offensive coordinator now at Tennessee State with Eddie George. So I'll send you the page so you can go check it out. We're trying to help him prevent human trafficking and making sure the community stays safe and the kids stay safe, because it's still horrible out there with what I'm seeing from human trafficking. So we need to prevent it and help solve it and get rid of it. And so I'm going to send you the foundation so you can check it out. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
Yeah, man. I had a couple family members pass away because of everything going on. So and I got a lot of friends that's nurses and doctors too. So the one thing I would say is just continue to make our country, and this is all the world, not just in my country. I should say all over the world. Feel safe. Obviously, whenever you hear the word doctor and there's somebody that's really cares, it's like it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? So, and all the nurses. But the biggest thing I would just say is, continue to take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because, they spend so much time taking care of us that I can imagine, you can kind of forget about taking care of yourself, So I know I practice meditation and yoga and things like that. So I'm really hoping that they're taking care of themselves so it can help us take care of ourselves. We see a doctor take care of himself. We're going to start like, okay, we got to start taking care of ourselves too. So, but I'm thankful for everybody that's not just the doctors, but the janitors and the taxi drivers and the people that's in the ambulances. Like so many people are having to contribute in ways that, were never thought of before all of this. So we have a lot of people to pay our respects to. So for everybody that's being affected by what's going on, which is everybody, stay strong. Continue to understand that we all have it in us to get through this, and continue to look, within and helping your neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Let's help one another.
Yeah, well said. And I got family in India, and they're going through a rough patch right now with COVID in India, and a lot of crazy things are going there. And we lost our uncle like last week, and with COVID, he's from India too, and it's crazy.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay, and he was the best, and we just have to. Hopefully, they can solve it soon in India and in the other places too. And but well said, and there it is. That wraps up episode 777 with World Series champ from the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, Adron Chambers. I just want to say thank you for joining the show. It's truly an honor, and keep up the great work with your kids. And I hope you go back home soon from this COVID situation, but just keep it up. And we would like to have you back as a returning guest at some point so you can meet the full team.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you, man. What I like to say, namaste.
Thank you.
Take it easy, bro.